My latest research shows this one question to be by far the most asked one during the Amazon interview, and this is throughout the years and regardless of the job role. And as you see next, there's some pretty interesting reasoning behind this. Throughout this video, I'm going to demo some role-specific examples with some hopefully interesting tips and tricks on what makes an interesting answer. But before getting to the examples, let me first explain why Amazon is asking you such questions in the first place. Amazon as a large business puts a lot of emphasis in hiring people that connect well with its core values and mission statement. And it's not by accident that Jeff Bezos is all over the media talking about their 14 leadership principles. And in my opinion, you're actually in luck if you're getting asked such an open-ended type of question, because you get a unique opportunity to showcase your strengths and to really not be constrained by a specific failure, team, or success story. So let's take a look at some examples. Why Amazon? So probably the most important rule when answering any question during any interview is to go above and beyond to make it an enjoyable experience for both sides. So in this example, you can see that there are quiet periods of time, and you can feel that the confidence is decreasing with each second passing by. So my point here is that if you don't have an immediate answer, try to improvise something. And if you cannot improvise something, simply brainstorm out loud. But the idea is to keep your audience engaged at all times. And just one more thing here, you should dress appropriately for this event. So let me be honest with you here. The situation at my current employer is not great. I mean, I'm a hardworking person, and I feel like my coworkers are always taking advantage of this, and my boss, she's always using my achievements to promote her own agenda. So I find this situation to be unsustainable, so I'm therefore looking for a change. So it's quite common to have a demanding boss or some difficult coworkers, and it's also not that uncommon to really feel sick and tired of the situation and having to switch jobs simply because of your working environment. However, mentioning this during a job interview is a critical mistake. Complaining about someone else, he said, she said types of behavior won't get you any far, because the interview is all about yourself. And as selfish as this may seem, and as it's as decisive as it looks. So also to note here is that the overall negative approach to this answer, and one way to overcome this would be to simply ask yourself, would you hire yourself? And while some drama is not necessarily a bad thing during an answer, you should, however, quickly switch to a more positive approach, because after all, this is a job interview, and one way to elegantly do so is by using a simple smile. I really want this job because I think that I can help Amazon preserve its leading cloud computing and grow my career at the same time. Your big data division is also any analyst's dream job, and yes, I'm the type of person who gets excited by working with petabytes of data and full stack technologies. Also, ownership is something that rhythms with my own set of values, and I'm also confident of keeping even your most difficult customers happy. So this is a good answer mainly because it talks about being helpful, which is an essential quality for any entry-level job. Also, it explicitly mentions Amazon's two most important leadership principles for this role, that of customer obsession and ownership. Also, despite the fact that this may actually sound a bit like a prepared answer, this could play actually to your advantage, because, so to be clear, no one expects an SD level 1 role to be an expert storyteller. Also, being explicit that you really want this job is something recommended these days, and this is because people are switching jobs more often than ever, and this is not a sign of desperation by any means. And the reason why I said that yes, I'm the type of person who gets excited by working with petabytes of data is because this is language that's actually used in the job description, and what better way to connect with my audience than to use their own language. Also noted that I didn't go too fast here and I didn't laugh too much, but I did try to keep it engaging at all times. And even if I praised Amazon a little bit, I also made it clear that I also wanted to advance my career at the same time. And finally, I didn't go into too much of a technical detail with this answer simply because I wanted to primarily connect with their values. And this pretty much depends on who asks you this question and how you feel the most comfortable to answer it. Because I believe that Amazon is a type of company that tackles hard problems. And let me share a personal story with you here. You see, in the beginning, when I launched my first few websites, the general accepted methodology was to simply buy some hosting and a database and you were essentially good to go. Now, if one of your websites happened to work, that is to receive hundreds of thousands of visits per month, you would know it that because it would actually crash due to high traffic. So you would essentially have to spend the bulk of your time on caching mechanisms and all sort of technical tricks. Now with Amazon, with AWS, not only that you just pay for what you use, but it also has scalability by design. So if your website happens to become successful, you would have plenty of time to focus on what matters, on things such as a better customer experience, for instance. So this example is about a personal story, and it actually did happen to me to have a website that received enough traffic to make me spend the bulk of my time on caching mechanisms. So the point here would be to find a personal story that would highlight your preference for Amazon. Also notice here that I employed the STAR format to answer this question because why Amazon can also be looked at as a behavioral question. And the reason why I'm mentioning the STAR method is because it's helpful not to forget any part of the answer when actually doing it live during the interview. Now, what could have been done better about this answer? That would be the use of metrics. So if you can use more metrics, use as many metrics as possible. And finally, the best way to brainstorm for these stories is to actually look at your CV, because that's where you list the bulk of your professional experience. And notice that my previous answer was a more emotional one, while this one was a more technical one. And I believe this last one is a better approach here, especially for technical roles, because they are easier to tell, and you do not risk making it too general because you can always use some metrics. And one more advantage to this, to using these types of examples, is that if you're serious about the behavioral interview, you'll already have some stories prepared for the actual interview. I want to work at Amazon for 4 reasons. The most important is the possibilities of creating and marketing products on a huge scale are immense, and after spending more than a decade in the consumer services industry in leadership roles, I can certainly understand Amazon's unique position at the intersection of speed and reach, and basically any product here gets a good chance of succeeding. Second is that I really enjoy diving deep and staying connected with details, and Amazon is a very data-driven company, so I could certainly take advantage of working with data here. Number 3 here is that while spending 10 years in the consumer services industry, I certainly learned how to make product marketing strategies to delight customers, and I would get the opportunity to do this on a much broader scale at Amazon. And last but not least, I'm also a proud Amazon customer and a first-generation Kindle owner. What's interesting about this answer is how it was specifically tailored to this role through the use of keywords such as product marketing or strategy. Also, notice the not so subtle reference to Amazon's most relevant leadership principles here, that of diving deep and staying connected to details. And last but not least, are you using Amazon? Well, if you do, you'd better let them know you do so. Well, this would be an amazing opportunity to work for such an innovative company, and the people that work here are some of the smartest in the world, and Amazon is the indisputable leader in many domains and one of the most valuable businesses in the world. Notice here that the answer, despite being on a positive note, it is way too general. And the best way to evaluate for such answer is to put yourself in your interviewer's shoes and imagine yourself receiving a dozen answers that praise Amazon each week. So my point here is that Amazon is quite picky when it comes to hiring these days, and even after their latest HQ2 announcement. So the probability of success for anyone, it's closely linked with the uniqueness of their answers. I've always wanted to work for this company. I mean, your hiring processes are well structured, your jobs website is one of the best around, and probably the most important of all is you actually do what you preach in your 14 leadership principles. Now, on my end, I've always done my best to at first recruit hundreds of IT professionals and later on to build systems that connect employers with hundreds of thousands of job applicants. And I believe that my 7+ year experience with recruitment marketing systems would play a role into building a mutually beneficial relationship. I included this final example first because I thought it was worded interestingly and noticed the energy that it sends, but also because I wanted to highlight the importance of selling yourself throughout the process. And in my opinion, aside from your expertise for this given role, the decision will very much depend on your ability to showcase your strengths when compared to other applicants. So what do you think? Could this have been done even better? Maybe let me know your suggestions and questions in the comment section down below, and thank you very much for watching.